Hi, children. Let's start a new lesson in your political science part. Chapter 2, Indian Foreign Policy. Indian Foreign Policy. Here in this lesson, we are going to learn these following points. Nature of Indian foreign policy, principles of Panchashila, non-alignment policy, disarmament, and apartheid policy. So, this lesson is new to you all, because you did not study about this any foreign policy in your earlier classes, maybe in 8th standard or in 9th standard. Now you are studying this new topic in your 10th standard. Actually, my dear children, we are even teaching in offline classes, but we have more portions to be completed. So I am doing this lesson through online. After watching this video channel, if you have any doubts, you can clear it when you come to the class, or or even you can call me and ask the doubts. So let's start this lesson, a new lesson, Indian foreign policy. First, let us understand. I want to introduce few points. Here, you think, my dear children, is it possible to live alone on this earth? No human being can live alone. You people can live alone in the house. You are staying with your parents, brothers, sister, grandparents, and all. And we also cannot live alone in a house. At the same time, we cannot even live alone in this society. We are living in the society with our neighbors and all, because no human being can live alone on this earth. Then can you say how you can mix with everyone? Mingle means how you can mix with everyone. ಹೇಗೆ ನೀವು ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀರಾ? ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಹೇಗೆ ನೀವು ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂತೀರಾ? ಒಬ್ಬರೇ ಇರಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯನಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ. Now think, does a farmer has a necessity of someone? Yes, you all know that farmer grows food grains, vegetables, fruits and all. Can he live alone without anyone in his life? Farmer also needs many people in his life. At the same time, a trader. So you can see the picture there, trader who is selling vegetables, fruits there in the cart. So he also needs someone. Alone he cannot live. At the same time, a rich man. Here I have given you the picture of Ambani. So you can see that rich man cannot also live alone. No one on this earth can live alone. Now, everybody is depending on one another, right or not? Everyone, we ourselves depend on, you people depend on your parents, we depend on our parents, we depend on our kids. Like this, every human being depends on one another to fulfill their necessity. Yes, see the trader who is selling vegetables in that picture, he needs customer. Without customer, can he sell the vegetables? No. Farmer has to sell the goods he has grown, trader has to sell. Trader ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿಗಳು, ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮಾರಾಟ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಬೇಕು. An entrepreneur means a businessman also needs employees. A single person cannot do all the work, but he has to make friends, he has to be with his employees. So like that, in this way, each person has a necessity of one another person. So we have friends, we have many people working with us. We all need them in our lives because they are all helping us to do our work in a proper way. Think, my dear children, in this way, can a country live alone without having any connections with another country? Just now we discussed a single person cannot live alone. A person cannot live alone without parents, without brothers and sisters, without friends, without neighbors. In the same way, a country can also cannot be alone because it should have a connection with other countries. You all know, for example, India. India can be alone without having friendly relationship with the neighboring countries. No, it doesn't happen. Like people cannot live alone, in the same way countries cannot also be alone without having a relationship with other countries. Now let us think, Now tell me, my dear children, which are the situations that leads for a country to have a relationship with other nations? You now tell me why we need a relationship with other countries, my dear children. To get the food item we need, whatever the food which is not available in India can be brought from other countries. So we need a good relationship with other countries to get the food items, to sell the excess of goods we produce. Yes, imports and exports. So we sell the goods which is manufactured in our country to other countries. So for that sake, we need a relationship with other countries. To solve the problem of border dispute, yes, we share border with many countries. For example, India shares border with Pakistan, Afghanistan, then Myanmar, Bhutan, Nepal. So we have many problems. You all know that we and Pakistan, we have problems in the border. So that is, there is disputes means problem. So border problems are there. So to solve that problem, we need a good relationship with other countries. To solve river water disputes. When we were studying the geography part, I said that the river may take birth in other country, it will flow in our country. So we also share the river water from one country to another country. So for that purpose, we need a relationship with other nation. So if we are friendly with other nations, we won't be having the fear of insecurity also. So my dear children, we will be having the fear of war. If we have a bad relationship with other nations, definitely you all know that we will be having fear. When they Pakistan people may attack India, because we don't have a good relationship. If we have a good relationship with other countries, definitely there is no fear of war between the two countries. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ? Indian foreign policy in this lesson, the another thing is each country will have relationship with other nation in order to fulfill its needs. ಹೌದು, ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದು ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶದಿಂದ ತರಿಸ್ಕೊಂತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ, ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶದವರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿಲ್ವೋ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಿಂದ ತರಿಸ್ಕೊಂತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. So in order to exchange the goods from one country to another country, we need a good relationship with other nation. That is why. So we study about how the countries will have relationship at the international level. Therefore, the way a country acts while dealing with other nation is called as foreign policy. So you make a question is here, what is foreign policy? The policy which is adopted by one country while dealing with other the country is called as foreign policy. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಒಂದು ದೇಶ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ದೇಶದ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಡೀಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ. Now let me explain you children, is there any need for this foreign policy? Yes, definitely. Every country should have its own foreign policy. I think not only India, but also other nations, they will be having a relationship with other country. We exchange. You all know that the petrol, what we are using in our country is, we are importing that petrol from Arabian countries. So we should have a good relationship with Arabian countries. In the same way, if the country has to survive, if the country has to live, it should have a good relationship with other nations. So the policy which is adopted by one country while dealing with another country, and that policy is called as foreign policy. So foreign policy has become necessary for each and every country. It may be a small country or it may be a big country, whatever it may be, every country should have its own foreign policy. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ದೇಶಕ್ಕೂ ಅವ್ರದೇ ಆದಂತ ಒಂದು ಫಾರಿನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಫಾರಿನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ the policy one country is having while dealing with another country. See, in the picture we are showing that India is taking the help of other country for the purpose of trade maybe, or whatever it is. Then out of 200 countries in the world, very few countries are very strong and most of them are very weak. You all know that many countries are there in the world. Some countries are very strong, countries like America and all. Some countries are weak. Even though they are weak, and whatever may be, the countries may be strong, the countries may be weak, whatever it may be, every country should have their own policy. Means ವೀಕ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಆದ್ರೂ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಆದ್ರೂ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಇರಬೇಕು. ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉಗಾಂಡಾಗೆ ಅವ್ರದೇ ಆದಂತ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಇದೆ, ಅಮೆರಿಕಾಗೆ ಅವ್ರದೇ ಆದಂತ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಇದೆ. Now think, did India have such kind of foreign policy before 1947? Means, I'm asking children, before 1947 means before independence, we had the foreign policy? No, we don't have foreign policy before 1947. We did not have ಫಾರಿನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಅವರ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ? ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ನಾವು ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ 1947 ಮುಂಚೆ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿತ್ತು. ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ರೂಲ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. English people were there in our country before 1947. That is why before 1947 we did not, we means we Indians did not have any foreign policy. Then think, why? Because our country was not a sovereign country at that time. At that time means before 1947. Sovereign means the country which is not under the control of any other country. But after 1947, our India had its own foreign policy because our country gained independence after 1947. We were not under the control of any other foreign countries. You understood, I think? Then when did India get independence? You all know that it is in the year 1947, August 15th. What is the benefit of getting independence, my dear children? Yes, independence means freedom. Before 1947, we did not have any freedom because our country was ruled by British people. But after 1947, our country gained independence and we got freedom. We means we Indians got freedom, and from that time we all have rights to take our own decision of our nation. Right or not? If a country is independent, it can take decision related to the country. Yes. So after 1947 only, we people means we Indians started to take our own decision which is related to our country. In the same way, it can decide what kind of relationship it should have with other nations in the world. That is called as foreign policy. So after 1947, we started to take our own decision. At the same time, we also started to take what kind of relationship we should have with other nation for the purpose of trade, for the purpose of food items, for the purpose of exports and imports maybe. So India also has its own foreign policy, that is after independence. India has been considered as one of the biggest countries of the world with its huge population. You all know India is having the population which stands second after China. We have good number of natural resources, number of military we have, intellectual and industrialists, we have many entrepreneurs, many intelligent people and yet capacities. India is one of the few countries in the world who pursue their own foreign policy. As the biggest country, among all the nations, as the biggest country in the world, India is having its own foreign policy. National interest. A nation should realize that foreign policy is an art of finding the right policy in spite of many policies. It is useful to a country. We can speak of good for international community and international peace, says Jawaharlal Nehru. Means, and every nation should have its own foreign policy. Whatever it may be a right thing or it may be a wrong thing, that every country should have a own foreign policy which is useful for a country, which is also useful to maintain a good international means other nation, to keep a good relationship with other country for the purpose of peacekeeping also. If we have a friendly relationship, we do not fight with each other. Finally, every government considers everything from its own perspective. The foreign policy of the government is based on the long term as well as short term interest of its own. So, foreign policy is important to preserve our own country and at the same time to have a good relationship with other country, says Jawaharlal Nehru. He is the first minister of our independent India. India. The major aims of Indian foreign policy are. So here again this lesson consists of 3 marks question, sorry 2 marks question or 3 marks question you may get. So be ready with these points. You make a question. What are the major aims of Indian foreign policy? The major aims of Indian foreign policy are national security. National security, nation means country, security means safety. So to nation safety is our first aim. So to protect our country is the national security means to protect our country. Next is enriching national economy. Enriching means we have to support our country's economic system ಅದನ್ನ further strong ಮಾಡೋದು. Enriching means strengthening our national economy. Next is spreading the cultural richness of our country in other countries. Yes, you all know children, we people, you all know that many people, singers, dancers from our country, they go for another country. Many Bharatanatyam dancers, many singers, they go to other country to perform dance, to perform singing and all. Why they go to other country? Because they wanted to spread our Indian culture richness in other countries also. They have to show what is the rich culture that we Indians have. That is why many people from our country go to other country in order to spread, in order to show how rich culture does India have, by increasing the number of friendly countries and check the power of enemy countries. So why we visit other countries? Why we need foreign policy? Because to increase number of friendly countries. As number of friendly country increases, that shows that we have more friends and less enemies, right or not? Achieving world peace and coexistence. To achieve world peace, so if we have more friends, there is no question of war in the world itself. And coexistence, coexist means to live, coexistence means live and let live. We means we the people of India should live. At the same time, the people of other countries should also live peacefully without any problem in this world. So these are the aims of Indian foreign policy. In the radio speech of September 7th, 1947, Jawaharlal Nehru said that foreign policy of India for the first time to the general public. So he introduced foreign policy in the year 1946 in a radio speech given by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of our country. The speech gave an indication of foreign relationship that India is going to have to foster with countries like America, Russia and China. So in that radio speech, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ಫಾರಿನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅವರು ಅಮೆರಿಕಾ ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಲಿ, ರಷ್ಯಾ ಅಂಡ್ ಚೈನಾ. Indian foreign policy influenced by many things. They are, again, you make a question, mention the factors that influence Indian foreign policy. Mention the factors that influence Indian foreign policy. They are, national interest, means to protect our country. Geographical interest, geography means earth, to protect our earth. Political situation, politics in our country. Economic interest, to support our economic system. You know we have military problems, military issues, to solve the military problems. Public opinion, you all know that our India is a democratic country. Their importance is given to the public opinion. Then international situation. International situation means what kind of relationship we have with other countries. Basic aspects of Indian foreign policy are, see, let us study what are the basic aspects of our Indian foreign policy, which was announced by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. The first one is Panchashila principle. Panchashila, Panch means five. Panchashila principles means five principles. Five rules are there. Let us study what are these things. Though country have their own social, economic, political and cultural system. So every country, India is having its own social, economic, political and cultural system, they have to strive faster to have good relationship with other country. ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವಿದ್ರೂ ನಾವು ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂಥ ದೇಶದ ಜೊತೆನೂ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ, ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ. So Panchashila principle, based on the similar lines of the foreign policy, in 1954 you underline both India's prime minister, first prime minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and China's prime minister Zhou Enlai. His name is Zhou Enlai. Those two people, they signed an agreement called as Panchashila principles to develop a friendly relationship between India and China. So Jawaharlal Nehru as the first Prime Minister of India and Zhou Enlai was the Prime Minister of China. They both together, means Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as well as Zhou Enlai, those two people, they signed an agreement in the year 1954 and accepted this Panchashila principle. The basic things, the basic aspects of Panchashila, means I said Panchashila, Panch means 5. Panchashila principle means 5 principles. These 5 principles has been signed between China and India. China's first Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and China's Prime Minister Zhou Enlai signed this agreement. And now let us see what are the important points available in this Panchashila principles. One is respecting each other sovereignty and regional interest. Sovereignty means no country. Here, both the countries, India as well as China, they are independent to each other. So, as we give respect to our country's sovereignty, at the same time, we should respect also other countries' sovereignty and regional interest. Non-invasion of each other. Non-invasion. Invasion means war. So, China should not do war on India and India should not do war on China. So, non-invasion of each other. So, this is the principle which was signed for. This is a 20 years agreement. Panchashila principle is a 20 years agreement. Non-interference in each other international issue. Not interference. Non-interference means not to interfere. So, China should not interfere in India's internal problems and India should not interfere in China's internal problem. Then mutual cooperation and respect. Mutual means one another. We should cooperate. That is, India should cooperate with China and China should cooperate with India, and both should respect each other. India should respect China and China should respect India. Peaceful coexistence. Exist means to live. Coexistence means live and let live. Peaceful coexistence means that China should live peacefully and at the same time it should also allow India to live peacefully. This is the agreement which was signed between India and China, and that is called as Panchashila principle. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ 5 ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಅವರಿಬ್ರು ಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ, ಒಬ್ರನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ, ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ವಾರ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು, ನಾವು ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ವಾರ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ನಾನ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಫಿಯರೆನ್ಸ್, ನಾವು ಅವ್ರ ವಿಷಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತಲೆ ಹಾಕಬಾರ್ದು, ಅವ್ರು ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ತಲೆ ಹಾಕಬಾರ್ದು. ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಕೋಆಪರೇಷನ್, ಒಬ್ರಿಗೊಬ್ರು ಕೋಆಪರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಪೀಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಕೋ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್, ನಾವು ಇರಬೇಕು, ಅವರು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಯಾವುದು ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಪೀಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇರಬೇಕು. ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ 5 ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಂಚಶೀಲ. Next is the topic is called as non-alignment policy. Non-aligned ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ align means to join, non-aligned means not to join. ಏನಿದು, ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಇದು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಇದೆ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವಾರ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಯು ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಹರ್ಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವಾರ್. ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವಾರ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದ ವಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪೆಂಡ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್. ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ disastrous war, big war, which took the life of many people. So this second war, after the second world war, what happened, the countries in the world has been divided into 2 groups. The world was divided into 2 power blocks, 2 groups. Two power blocks means two groups. After the end of Second World War. So after the completion Second World War ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಪಂಚ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಎರಡು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಒಂದು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಬಂದು ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರೆಟಿಕ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಬಂದು ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್. ಸೊ after the Second World War, the world was divided into two power blocks. One block was called as democratic block, another block was called as communist block. In the democratic block, for the democratic bloc, USA was the leader. For the communist bloc, USSR. USSR means Russia. USA means America. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವಾರ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎರಡು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಒಂದು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ಗೆ ಲೀಡರ್ ಬಂದು USA ಅವರಾಗಿದ್ರು, ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರೆಟಿಕ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ಗೆ ಲೀಡರ್ ಬಂದು USA ಆಗಿದ್ರು, ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ಗೆ ಲೀಡರ್ ಬಂದು USSR ಅವರು ಆಗಿದ್ರು. In those days, India followed the policy of being non-aligned to either of these blocks. ಅವಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, USA ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆ ಬಂದು ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ USA asked India to join with them, that is ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರೆಟಿಕ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ಗೆ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು. ರಷ್ಯಾ ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರೆಟಿಕ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಲೀಡರ್ ವಾಸ್ USA, whereas communist bloc leader was Russia. Both those two people, they asked India to join in their group, but we followed non-aligned. Non-aligned means we did not join any of the power blocks. ನಾವು ಈ ಕಡೆ USA ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಗೂ ಸೇರಿಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಕಡೆ USSR ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಗೂ ಸೇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಎರಡು ಕಡೆನೂ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಳ್ದೆ non-aligned. That's why aligned means to join, non-aligned means not to join. India did not join USA bloc or Russia. It was successful in commanding the faith from both the blocks. ಎರಡು ಜೊತೆಲೂ ಇಬ್ಬರ ಜೊತೆಲೂ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಶಿಪ್ ಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ. USA ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಲೂ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಶಿಪ್ ಬೇಕು, USSR ಜೊತೆಲೂ ಬೇಕು. ಅದರಿಂದನೇ ನಾವು ಯಾರ ಕಡೆನೂ ಸೇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು USA ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸೇರಿದ್ರೆ USSR ಕೋಪ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, USSR ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸೇರಿದ್ರೆ USA ಅವ್ರ ಕೋಪ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಅಲ್ಲದೆ, that is not only that, we received more help from USA, financial help from USA and military help from USSR. So that is why we cannot support any one of the country. So we remained neutral without joining power blocks. So after Nehru, the prime minister who came, like Lal Bahadur Shastri, maybe Indira Gandhi, she was the daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru, followed the principle of eye for an eye in foreign policy. The wars held in 1965 and 1971 with Pakistan were guided by this policy. So, ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಲಿ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರೇನು ನಮಗೆ 1965 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವಾರ್ ಆಯಿತು ಪಾಕಿಸ್ತಾನ ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ, 1971 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಯಿತು, ಈಗ ಬಂತು. So, in 1971, India and Pakistan war happened. Bangladesh was liberated from Pakistan. 1971 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಪಾಕಿಸ್ತಾನ್ ವಾರ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಬಾಂಗ್ಲಾದೇಶ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಇದೆ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಿಯಾನಲ್ಲಿ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಪಾಕಿಸ್ತಾನಿಂದ. Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee tried to reform. You can see the person, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. He wanted to try to reform, to change our foreign policy and to strive have a good relation. You all know, even the small kids will say that the relationship between India and Pakistan is not good because they are waging war on us every time. You know, many soldiers are dying in that war. So, but this Atal Bihari Vajpayee, he wanted to change the foreign policy and he also wanted to have a good relationship with Pakistan. Next is anti-imperialism. Anti-imperialism. The foreign policy of India opposes imperialism. Imperialism andre enu? What is imperialism? Imperialism is an attempt by a sovereign country to take over another sovereign country with the intention of ruling it for its personal gains. ನಿಮಗೆ ಈ ಇಂಪೀರಿಯಲಿಸಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು 1947 ಮುಂಚೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, you know that Britain was ruling our country. Britain was ruling our India. So this is called as imperialism. Imperialism is nothing but one country is ruling another country for their personal use. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಲಾಭ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, how these people, Britain people exploited the people of India, how they exploited our resources ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ I have explained you in the history lesson. So imperialism is nothing but one sovereign country is ruling another sovereign country for their personal gain. ಅವರು ಸ್ವಂತ ದುರುದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ರೂಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಕಂಟ್ರಿನ, that is called as imperialism. So I have At the time. So anti-imperialism. So what is anti-imperialism means? We are all against. We are all against Indians. We are against imperialism. Why? Because we have already suffered a lot before 1947 when British were ruling our country. It was natural for India, which has gained its independence from an imperial country, to oppose such moves of other countries. No corner of the world shall have imperialism. ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಯಾವ ಮೂಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಪೀರಿಯಲಿಸಮ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇರಬಾರ್ದು. ಅವ್ರವ್ರ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರವ್ರು ಪೀಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೂ ತೊಂದರೆ ಕೊಡಬಾರ್ದು. ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ಡ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಇನ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಏಷ್ಯನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಾಸ್ ಹೆಲ್ಡ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ 1949 and 1955 ಇನ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಬಂಡಂಗ್. ಈ ಬಂಡಂಗ್ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್, ನ್ಯೂ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ನೋ ಕಾರ್ನರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಶುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ imperialism. All the countries should be independent of their own. Apartheid is another policy which is nothing but the people of one color discriminating the people of another color. You know, apartheid is a policy which was followed in South Africa. You know, the people of Africa, they are black in color. The people of America, they are white in color. White people started to discriminate the black people, and that policy was called as apartheid. Apartheid means discrimination of the people based on their skin color. Apartheid is an attempt by a race of people of a particular skin color to subjugate another race of people of different skin color in the name of supremacy. So you know that white people ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು, ವೈಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋರೆಲ್ಲ ಸುಪೀರಿಯರ್ ಅಂತ, ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಗಿರೋರೆಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಫೀರಿಯರ್ ಅಂತ. ಅದರಿಂದನೇ ಸೌತ್ ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾನಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ನ ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಮಿನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಹೊಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಮಾರಾಟನೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. Sell the black people. So apartheid is an affront to human rights and world peace. ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂದಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದೇ. ಅವ್ರು ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಗಾದ್ರೂ ಇರಲಿ, ವೈಟ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, all the human beings are one and the same. They are all equal. They should not be differentiated based on their skin color. So the foreign policy of India said that no country of the world shall practice this apartheid, because all the human beings are equal and all the human beings have the right to live on this earth. Anti-apartheid policy. Till recently, the minority white people were ruling the majority black people in South Africa. You all know that black people, their country was South Africa. India had declared its support to Nelson Mandela. So in this picture, no, I have shown this person was called as Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was the person who fought for the freedom of black people in South Africa. He started a party called as African National Congress. So he was called as the father of Africa because he fought for the rights of the black people against apartheid. Next is the disarmament. Here arms means weapon. Arms means weapon. So you tell me, children, whether arms are good for a country or bad for a country. So we need arms. Every country need arms for their protection. Okay. But we should not use the arms to destroy the people living in other country. Is it good? You know, using of weapons like guns, bullets, bombs and all destroys. It takes the life of many people. Is it not? We don't have any right to take the life of the people. So we have to reduce the usage of arms. That is what called as disarmament. Disarmament means reduction of usage of arms. Step by step is called as disarmament. The process of eliminating the arms. Here arms means weapon. Step by step is called as disarmament. There is an increased competition for the production of sale and collection of arms in the world, because every country, they are ready with the arms, because if any enemy country attacks, they are ready to wage the war. Many of the countries are worried that this is massive scale of arms could lead to again third world war. ಈಗ ತಾನೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವಾರ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವಾರ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಥರ್ಡ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವಾರ್ ಇನ್ನೂ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ವೆಪನ್ಸ್ ನ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಖಂಡಿತ ಈ ವೆಪನ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಥರ್ಡ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ it may also lead to third world war. Countries with huge weapons may attack one country intentionally by mistake or by accident, triggering massive devastation. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಇರೋ ವೆಪನ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ವಾರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ destroy the human beings and it will destroy the property on the earth. ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟಿಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್. ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲೂ ಇವಾಗ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ವೆಪನ್ಸ್ ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆರ್ಮ್ಸ್, ಎವ್ರಿ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಇಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಮ್ಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಆರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಆವಾಗ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮೆನಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ವರಿಡ್ ದಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಆರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಮೇ ಲೀಡ್ ಟು ಥರ್ಡ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವಾರ್. ಅದರಿಂದ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಇದು ಒಬ್ಬರು ಪ್ರಾಣ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಆರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸೇಜ್ನ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಆದಷ್ಟು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಡಿಸ್ಆರ್ಮಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಿನಲ್ಲ, ನಾಟ್ ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಆರ್ಮ್ಸ್. India being a peace-loving country, you all know that we people of India, we always love peace. Peace andre shanti. We don't want to wage war on anyone. Advocates, it is telling that we have to use very less arms. Since the time of Nehru, India is supporting disarmament. Disarmament means not to use the weapons. ದೋ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. ಆದರೆ ಅದಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಕಂಟ್ರಿಗೂ ಮಿಲಿಟರಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಆರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರೂ ಆದಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರಿಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ದಿ ವೆಪನ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸೇಜ್ ಇನ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಟು ಸೇವ್ ಅವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್, ಇನ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಟು ಸೇವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅರ್ತ್ and save this world. The Constitution of India, in that Article 51 advocates, you know that our Constitution has many articles. In that 51 article says that foreign policy that aims at establishing international peace. We need foreign policy only to establish peace and cooperation. We should help one another. We should live in peace. We should not wage war on any countries. The Department of External Affairs of central government plays a very important role in formulating our foreign policy. So we give more importance to our foreign policy because we means we Indians always love peace and we want to live a happy and peaceful life in our country. So it always considers our national interest and public opinion. So it is the duty of every government to protect our country's national interest, and at the same time we have to give importance and respect our public opinion. Indian foreign policy aims at strengthening UNO. India strives to have a strong foreign relationship with other countries of the world through SAARC. SAARC means South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation and Commonwealth of Nations as well. Ella countries jotelu we are having a good relationship. Moreover, India has been one of the major members of UNO. There is an organization throughout the world which is called as UNO, and we are the members of UNO, and we always support that we have a strong foreign policy. So India's role in strengthening UNO. UNO means United Nations Organization. We the people of India wish for only peace. Peace only. Unite everyone, have a good relationship with other countries. So this is what about your lesson, and I'm going to end this lesson. If you have any doubts after watching this video, once again I'm telling you, if you have any doubts, you can come and approach me in the school hours, or you can even call me, or you can even WhatsApp me. I'll clear your doubts. Thank you, my dear children. Thank you.